Hello, my name is Nupur Shah and today my topic is mallet finger. So here we begin. Coming on to the introduction, it is the injury that involves disruption of the extensor mechanism at the level of the DIP joint, and the alternative names which are used in place of mallet finger are crop finger or the baseball finger. They use the term baseball finger because it is commonly happening in the athletes who play baseball frequently. Epidemiology is it is seen in athletes and it is mostly involving the long ring and the small finger of the dominant hand. It is oftenly seen in young to middle-aged males and it can also be seen in old women. Mechanism of injury, as you can see, the baseball is hitting the DIP joint. So the DIP joint is going in forced flexion position, and so this is the mechanism of injury. There is a sudden forced flexion at the extended fingertip, that is at the DIP joint, which is an extension, and this results in tearing or stretching of the extensor tendon, and it can also happen that there is avulsion of the tendon insertion from the dorsum of the distal phalanx. In some cases, if the force is very severe, then this avulsion will happen. Clinical features, the finger droops, that means it cannot extend, the patient cannot extend the DIP joint actively. This is known as extensor lag, and passive extension at the DIP joint is possible. Because of this, obviously there will be pain and swelling at that part in the acute stages, and concurrent hyperextension at the PIP joint is seen, that is, the swan neck deformity is seen at the PIP joint. This is in compensation to the mallet finger which has happened at the DIP joint, but it is not the actual swan neck deformity which we see in the RA patients. So here you can see the radiograph. On the left hand side, the radiograph is showing the avulsion, and here in the cases of avulsion, the force, the transmission of the force will be more. That's why avulsion has happened. And in the right side, you can see the typical mallet finger. It is usually treated in the non-surgical manner. That means splints are given and it is immobilized in the extension position at the DIP joint for a couple of weeks, and after that PT management is started to restore the range. This is the mallet finger splint which you can see. Different splints are used to immobilize the DIP joint. This is the stack splint. You can see the finger is immobilized in DIP extension, and this is the aluminum splint. So the treatment, like I said, that about 80% closed injuries will heal in 6 to 8 weeks, and there is no need of open reduction and some fixation. That means surgical need is not there. Surgical repair is very rare in this case, and DIP joint is immobilized in extension. And if this fails, that means if the conservative treatment fails, then open repair can be considered. So for the PT management, the goals will be restoring the range of motion at the DIP joint. That will be the primary goal initially, and next will be to strengthen the extensor muscles of the finger. Strengthen the extensor muscles of the finger, and the patient has to be taught the extension exercises of the finger, so that he can continue the same exercises at home for a couple of times, so that the restoration of the range of motion is done, and the physiotherapist can start the Maitland mobilization for the DIP joint to improve the extension, and passive stretches can be given at the DIP joint to restore the range of motion. Thank you.